Hey guys, how y'all doing? My name is Kieran, and this is Fox Off RPG. So today, we're going to be doing a review. It's going to be a review of, obviously, Barrows and Borderlands. So, as you can see, I have 2 copies of the game. I have my print-on-demand copy from Drive-Thru, which came the other day. This is brilliant. This compiles everything that's in this box, which we'll have a look at now. If you've already seen the unboxing, you already know what it is. But yeah, it has everything together. It's called the Dinoco edition. There will be another version coming out, which is just a cover change. If you already had the print-on-demand copy of this, you're going to get a discount code, and it's going to bring it to a little bit above the print cost. So if you want a different cover, you don't have to pay the full amount. At least that's what I understand from the creator Matthew. This, on the other hand, is the box set, which comes in the classic OD&D pamphlet style. You get dice like this here. We'll go through all this now in a few minutes. But yeah, it contains everything. You can get this from his website. He delivers to 6 or 7 countries now, and regions. But yeah, what you're going to get in this box, you get the 4 pamphlets. You're going to get a set of dice. These are the dice that I have. You've probably seen, if you've been watching my channel, you have seen me use these dice quite a bit the last few weeks. You also get a couple character sheets as well, printed on a nice card stock. Also, when you get this, you can get a free add-on called Radioactive Boogaloo. There's a second one that just came out. Well, the first one has a bunch of new races, 6 new races, classes, solo generation tools for dungeon encounters and creating dungeons, solo wilderness stuff, which is great, which I would actually recommend using the solo wilderness stuff in general. It doesn't matter if you're playing solo or not. Same with the generation tools for dungeons. It just creates a bit easier for the GM if you don't have any of those tools or you don't really know what you want to create. Just use them. It's very simple, straightforward, lots of fun. Anyway, so I'm going to unbox this and then we can have a quick look throughout it, and I'll just have a flip through this as well, because again, everything that's in here is in this. Now, before we get into actually looking at everything, I just want to say thank you again, as always, to everyone who checks out the videos. And liking and commenting helps out massively in the algorithm, as I'm sure you all know. I'm going to leave links to where you can get this. The box set you can get on Matthew's own website. I'll have a link in the pinned comment and description. If you're getting the PDF, I would also recommend getting it from his website. If you want to get the print-on-demand copy, I'll attach my affiliate link if you want to grab it. Again, it's going to be compiled of everything that's in this box in here. So when you get this box set, you're going to get a set of dice to play the game, which is awesome. I love mine. I use them quite a lot now. I'll go quickly over what each booklet is, and then I'll flip through it all. Have a quick flip through the print-on-demand copy as well, so you get an idea what it is. So yeah, so you get a couple character sheets here. Pretty simple, straightforward. For anyone who doesn't know, this game is essentially the bones of OD&D combined together with Matthew's insanity. So it's like the bones of OD&D mixed in with science fantasy. Like here has this is probably a very good description, I think. So a weird science fantasy, old school style role-playing game set in a dark radioactive wasteland of magic, gunpowder and dragons. There's going to be aliens around, there's going to be robots. Essentially in this world, the whole world was essentially Earth. And something happened to the Earth and we're on a floating disc throughout. Okay, that was weird. My camera disconnected. But anyway, so basically what happened to Earth, something happened to it. It was an explosion of some sort. A part of the Earth was then blown off throughout space, and it's basically a floating disc throughout space. Obviously, magic is helping things, so it doesn't like fall apart and the water doesn't go through the sky and everyone throughout the universe, and we don't just die. But yeah, and he has like portals to different games. If you want to play, you want to bring your characters over, you can. It's really cool. I believe the portal stuff is going to be on his website if it isn't already. Again, all this stuff will be linked. So think of Fallout meets medieval knights with Blackpowder guns, with dragons, aliens, robots, and your traditional sort of fantasy stuff, all mixed together into one into this insane game, and it is quickly becoming my favorite game, and it's so much fun. Again, this is a review, and I'm telling you, it's brilliant. I love it. We played a Steen, like a bronze Steen of this called Barrows Steen. It was great. Played it there on last weekend. Hell of a lot of fun. Or the weekend before. Yeah, no, it was last weekend. Yeah. So yeah, we'll have a quick flip through the book. I'll describe some of the stuff that's in here, and you get an idea of what the game actually is and how it works. It's going to be very simple when you go to play this game. It does give you a description of some of the stuff in the world and how things are, but it's very preliminary. If you do get this, you can join the Discord group. I believe the Discord group is an open link. If it is, I'll attach it down below. I also have a playlist of everything that I've done so far for the game, an unboxing, creating my characters, which I have in my solo game, my interview with Matt, Tap, the creator himself, and I will be doing a video on my solo play, which is not going to be me actually playing the game. It's going to be me talking about what I did in my solo game. It's basically a recap, because on the Discord group there is solo logs, and it's myself and another creator, the ultra American RPGer. He is also doing a solo game, which is pretty damn cool. I think he's filming his as well, so if you want to have a look at his, you can have a look at how he went about things and came to things, you can. Mine is basically going to be a recap. But anyway, just talks about common game terms, your strength, dexterity, intelligence, constitution, wisdom, charisma, and you also have radiation resistance, which is quite important. It's because we do have radiation. Radiation can be coming from someplace underground, it can be coming from ancient technology, robots, stuff like that. It talks about your referee, a judge, all that sort of normal stuff, your saving throws, dead, paralyzed, device, breath, and sorcery, and it gives an example of what these things are, so you know what to roll on. It says roll your death saving throw or death throw, or your saving throw. Has lots of cool art in here, and it talks about the world, the dying world, the Shadow Empire. Again, this is just a very brief preliminary look at things. If you go in the Discord, there's going to be a lot more, and I do believe there will be doing game modules as well. That's going to go over some stuff. And you'll probably be learning a lot more about the world. But that's very, very light and preliminary. And Matt has been playing and creating this over 10 years. He's 26, by the way. So it talks about humans and demi-humans. So you have pure strain humans, which are going to be normal, everyday people, essentially. You're then going to have the kobolds. In this, it's actually interesting because they're not just dog or lizard people. They're dog people, which can be covered with scales and other like skin stuff. Starborn, think of them as space elves. Green skulls, I like to imagine them as, like, if you played Fallout and you have the feral ghouls, and the ghouls, they're like that. Think of the Red Skull from Captain America, but they're green and they glow and they have radiation. I believe they're completely immune from radiation as well. You have mutants. Mutants are absolutely brilliant. I love them. In my solo game, I have one of my characters which is a mutant. And when you create a mutant, you then roll a mutation chart, and it's, yeah, I believe already, yeah, it's that'll be in my solo character creation for my 3 characters. You have halflings, you have dwarves, you have mycelians, which, there's mushroom people, and you have fairies. So it was cool. You have a bunch of gods in here. Yep. There's lots to choose from. I think some of them were inspired by, like, you have Dinoco, the man upstairs. Deep within the dead zone exists a monolith, a facility of awesome power from before the end. It is said the name sprawled across that is of a god. The great man upstairs, remnants of Dinoco spreads far and wide within the Borderlands. Typical clergy, mutants of the dead zone, typical followers, tech priests, and mutants. Now, I like the way this sort of describes different parts of like clergy. Like here it has witch hunters, inquisitors, priests. This allows for an idea of what the people will be following them and how they interact. So I have a cleric. I kind of have him down as something like a witch hunter, and my backstory was he was a dwarf, and his family is sort of cursed, or believed to be cursed, and they're sort of like trying to get back their honor, and it's been going on for generations throughout the family line. And when they go to places, they try to rid of any of the cultists or non-believers who are evil. Like here you have astrologer, priests, star readers. You have the roach god. The followers are going to be cultists, hermits, and mad scholars. The clergy are cave priests and corrupted scholars. So, you know, it adds a lot of flavour to everything, which is awesome. Again, it talks about creating a character, which we showed in full how you're going to create characters. You have your race, you can have different adjustments to your stats after you roll them. How I rolled mine stats is it gives you several different options. I roll 4d6, drop the lowest. You can also roll 2d6 plus 6 for each stat, or just roll 3 down the line. And you roll 3 down the line and pick your favourite stat for what you want as well, so that works out quite well. And then it gives your ability modifier scores, so your XP for your prime score. Depending on what your class is, like if you're a fighting man, your prime score is going to be your strength. Yeah, so good. Does all that stuff, class and level. So your hit dice, your minimum HP, your saves, what they are, primary attributes, depending on what your classes are. And some will have more than one, like psychics or psychers. Yeah, psychics will have intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, as where a fighting man will only have strength, and a magic user will only have intelligence. And then you're going to go down to the actual classes now. So you have fighting man, you have a magic user. They're your classic normal classes we're all used to. You have your cleric. You then have your half-caster, which is awesome. I have one of my characters as this. Basically, you have some of the abilities of a fighter class, but you're not going to have as much health initially. You're going to be D6 while the fighter's going to be D8. You're going to have some of the fighting men's abilities, like you're going to gain weapon masteries at level 1, 4, and 8, which then is going to increase like your damage and your to hit. Yeah, we don't gain everything from like the fighting man. Like here, you increase your attacks based on their stuff as well. You also are able to cast magic, but this you can only cast one spell, if I remember right. Yeah, one spell of their choice. So, a normal magic user, I think they start off with 3 spells. Let me find out. I think it's 3 spells for a magic user. I think it's 3. Anyway, doesn't matter. You have your psychic, you have your thief, and then you have a bunch of thief skills, the stuff they're able to do. When you're picking a thief skill, you're going to have a pool of skills you can pick. You can either roll, or you can then pick from what they are. So you're not going to be, you can not necessarily do everything, but you can attempt to do things. But if you put a point into something, you're going to gain basically a plus to doing that thing. You have a gamma class. Gamma class, let's just read it here. The gamma is mutation made flesh, a warped echo of a humanity touched by follow, sorcery, or ancient meddling. The body shifts in ways that unsettles the eyes that see beyond skin, that hardens to armor, limbs that stretch or warp, sprout inner organs, an alien purpose. Hear whispers from the bones of the earth. These may change into be monstrosities or magnificent creatures, but always come at the price. So you are basically being changed into a mutated dysgenic creature. It's pretty cool. You then have your birth signs and backgrounds. These things can affect. You don't have to, as Matt has said many times when I've talked to him, like, you don't have to use everything as it is. Like when it comes to combat, we'll come now in a second. There's lots of stuff you can do in combat. It's not just like walk forward, hit, get hit, hit. there's abilities that essentially everyone has a chance to do. Different types of strikes, maneuvers, and so on. And it gives you a list, which is handy. But yeah, like stuff like this, you don't have to have if you don't want to. But let's say we're going to roll a D20 followed by a D2, which is just flip a coin. Or get like a D4, D6, and then, you know, divide it into 2. So let's say we end up in Igni. This is going to be a number 6. It's blade, melee to hit. And then we roll a D2. The D2 is going to determine if it's positive or a negative inference on your character. Because this is essentially the sign that you were born under, or what your soul has been afflicted with or been touched by. So if you were a blade, you're melee to hit, so you're getting +1 to hit, and it's going to be meaning it's action and conflict. So maybe you were blessed in some way. So it's seen as you were blessed by maybe an angel or some sort of divine being. But if it's a curse, maybe it's a demonic force or something that's trying to corrupt. That's kind of how I have fed into some of my character creation as well. It's another tool that adds to the game, but also adds to backgrounds of characters, which is cool. And then this is awesome. A set of skills. You're going to roll your D100, depending on what you get. You can get anything from, you can choose one, basically choose one thing from set 1, or you can end up with choose 4 from set 1, 3 from set 2, and yeah. So just choose 4 from set 1 and 3 from each of the other 2 sets. So you get choose 4 different options here and 3 different options here. So this can, again, it's going to inform your character. And then it talks about non-human characters, languages, relatives, and stuff like that, loyalty and morale. It's pretty normal stuff here. So if you're going to roll 2d6 on a 2, it's going to be attempts to attack you. A 3 to 5, a hostile reaction. That doesn't mean they're going to attack. That could mean they're standoffish, they're aggressive, they're telling you, like, get out of my way, don't want to be anything to do with you. For 6 to 8, they're uncertain. So again, they're just going to be, you know, they're going to be careful going near you and approaching you. 9 to 11, they're going to accept any offer you give. And 12, they're going to be enthusiastic. And also that's going to have a +3 loyalty bonus. You have radiation resistance. So radiation is important in this game. Again, if you're playing your game, even if you're playing the same world or not, and you don't want to use it, you don't need to. So let's say my character has 12 radiation. Okay, well, that means I can stand 1 round of 11 radiation before I will take damage, or then mute and have a possible mutation effect happen. Or I can go into, I think it's 5 or 6 rounds of level 2 radiation. So I have a chance to get out. But after a certain point, you will die. Or you will have to have a chance of dying. So when you do that, there's a 20% chance instead of dying, you have a mutation effect happen to you. Which is really cool. I think the mutation is back here. Actually, let's make sure. No, it's actually on the Gamma character. There we go. So Gamma mutation. They're not all negative either, which is really cool. You have here it says defects. There isn't that many defects, but everyone's in the game should treat you differently based on your mutation. Like one of my mutation my character has is amphibious. Can breathe underwater and can swim at full speed. That's already a cool mutation, but how I done it is he has like frog-like skin, slightly scaly. So he looks weird. And you have a bunch of equipment here. And they're going to have different ranges as well. And different types of damages depending what... They see a bunch of symbols here as well. Depending on what kind of weapon they are. So the note on the damages listed here. Different symbols like the little sort of pointy arrow up is a +1 to AC versus melee attacks. Must be two-handed. So there's a bunch of stuff here. How it's going to affect things. So you can have 2 weapons that do similar amount of damage, but maybe one of them can be two-handed, or maybe the other one has a longer reach and then has a bonus against charging enemies, and that does like double damage, I think it is. What's one against charging, just to make sure I have that right in my head? Yeah, double damage, double dice damage when weapon is set to expect a charge. So if you know a character or an NPC or enemies with a charge at you, you basically essentially take your pike or spear or whatever, have it face down, and they're charging towards you. Maybe you have a bunch of characters that are charging towards you, you and your friends, or your other party members in a combat situation. You have your thing up and you roll your 2 dice. You know, your 2d6, 2d8, 2d10, whatever, depending on the weapon. Missile weapons, they're going to be different types of ranges and damage they're going to do. As firearms, like we said, there is Blackpowder. Stuff that I would have to be a bit more rare. Now, there is also, like I said before, about radioactive boogaloo, is it adds more races, adds more classes, adds more equipment, and key hex locations as well, which are some in the volume 4 book here, and more items as well, and also the solo stuff. And here's some of the combat. We'll get over to the radioactive stuff now in a little bit when it pops up, but I just want to mention that because some of it is relevant to different parts of each of these books, which you can add in if you wish, or just take the aspects of that you want. And remember, the radioactive boogaloos are free, and it works with any sort of OD&D compatible game as well, so that's cool. How it's going to work: you determine surprise, declare your action, spell, movements, and melee, roll initiative, resolve actions based on the order or category, and check morale if needed. Surprise, declaring your actions, movement, and combat. How it's going to work: combat action types, melee, missile, attack rates, because you can have different attack rates as well. This is generally going to be applying only to the fighting man, and how it works is maybe on depending on the weapon and your level, the first round you might have you can do 2 attacks, and then on the second round you can then do 1 attack. So the higher level you are and the more you can do, the more attacks you can do. So it's just an increase in attack rate. And it talks about combat sequence, so melee, stationary attackers, missile attacks, stationary shooters, magic, and then abilities. So it'll be item uses, movement and hybrid actions. So you can move, move only up to your full movement speed or dash, move plus melee, move half, attack or charge, move and then use your missile attack, move and then use your magic attack. When you're doing your movements, you can only move at half speed as well. You do multiple attacks, like we said, delayed or changed actions. This is going to be usually with magic users, because they have the magic using chart. We will be coming that up now in a second. Is magic users, it's roll to cast. So let's say you're a level 1 character using a level 1 spell. You're going to roll. I believe if you hit an 8, the spell will instantly cast. If you roll a 7, it's going to be delayed cast. So instead of being done on that turn as you use it, it's going to be done on the following turn. And a miscast, I think that's at 1 or 2. Basically, you're going to roll on a chart, and you could get anything from you having essentially a mutation of magic throughout your body, which is not necessarily negative. It's also a positive. It can be, but also you could die. So it's a mix of things. And it has morale, want to check morale and stuff like that. Modifiers to attack, a situational attack modifier. So if the target is blinded, if you're flanking, if the attacker is invisible, you're going to gain pluses or minuses to hit. If you have a missile weapon firing at long range, it's a -5 to hit, because it's much farther away. In between the time of you aiming and then the character moving, it's much bigger distance. And it has the situational armor modifiers as well. If the target is encumbered, it's going to have a -1 to AC, for example. If the target is prone or stunned, you're going to have a -4 to AC. Combat options, like we talked about earlier. So you can do a charge attack. I'm not going to go over everything, but I'm just going to give you an example of a few of these. So a charge attack, a character may charge into melee, moving at mostly straight in a line, at least for 15 feet. So essentially you can basically run forward, charging with your weapon, depending on your weapon type as well. It could have extra effects. The terrain must allow for such a movement. So example, if there's a tree in the middle of your way between you and your character, you cannot do that. A charge grants a +2 damage, but inflicts a -2 AC penalty modifier on that charger their next turn. So I charge at you, I hit you, I do an extra 2 points of damage, but it doesn't kill you. So on my next turn, I'm at a -2 AC for anyone who's going to attack me. So there's risk and reward with all of these. Set weapon against charge, like we talked about before. A mounted combat, a mounted charge, spear charge, shield wall. So 3 or more adjacent characters with large shields may form a shield wall. Each gains +4 AC versus all attacks when it's normally 2. The wall may advance at half speed and still strike behind them at -2. So a second rank of poleman may strike behind them at a -2 to hit. It's going to be a bit further away and going to be a little harder to hit. You have a shield bash with small shields doing 1d2 damage, large shields doing 1d3 damage plus your strength modifiers. If you do that, you don't gain the AC advantage of having a shield. So it's risk and reward. And there's defensive techniques: block and parry, dodge, parry with your offhand. Archery techniques is a load as well: indirect fire, double arrow shot, ready to shoot, dodge and run, saddle fire. Melee techniques: you can try to disarm, a pommel strike, double feint, throw attack, two-handed weapon fighting. Like some of the weapons can do two-handed weapon, like you can use like a great sword, I think it is, and some of the axes. A character may have two. Oh no, sorry, it's not double-handed. It's 2 different separate weapons. So maybe you have 2 swords, 2 short swords. You're going to gain an extra attack per round, but a -2 penalty to your to hit. Yeah, there's lots of stuff like this in here. It talks about poisons as well. Some of the stuff you might come across in your game world, grappling rules, improvision, death and healing, how that works. It's actually kind of it's a tough game in terms of how it's going to do it. It was also kind of forgiving with help with the healing. A character may become unconscious at 0 HP, unable to act or move. Attacks against unconscious character automatically hit. However, if a character reaches -4, they begin to bleed out at a rate of -1 HP per round. So if you get your a character down to -4, you could essentially leave them and let them bleed out. If they are permanently dead at -10 HP, the healing, a character may gain 1 HP at the rate of 1 HP per 8 hours of rest. If the character spends an entire day resting, they may regain HP equal to their hit dice. Yeah. And it talks about critical hits. Critical hits are awesome. I really like them. So you roll your AC and stuff like that. If you get if you roll a natural 20, you then roll a D6. So it's really cool. But it also applies to monsters, like it says here, and other characters. So magic user, on the D6, if you roll a 1, you get +1 extra damage. Or if you roll a 6, it's 3 times the damage. So you could roll 3d6. Monsters and other characters, it's 1 +1 damage, +2 damage, +2 damage. Multiply 2 damage, and the same down to multiply by 3. Fighting Man does more damage from the get-go and has 2 chances of getting triple damage at 5 and 6. So it's pretty cool. You have dueling rules, so you can... I challenge you to a duel, good sir. It's awesome. It's all the stuff in there. Really great. I love it. Go over a little bit on the magic stuff. And I'm basically just going to talk about how the magic is going to work. It's pretty simple and straightforward, easy to understand. You have counter spells as well. So, also the counter spells on magic duels, you're going to be rolling d6s against each other essentially. So 2d6s. And that's going to determine everything. So if you are successful on your counter spell for it, you could then roll to against the target number that they hit to see if you can succeed. So if you get the same score higher, you basically negate their spell. It's more or less that's what it is. It's a bit more to it, but you know, it's trying to get the idea across. Core concepts of the game, of the magic user. So you, like I said before, talks about the I, D, and M here. So immediate for the I, the spell takes effect straight away. So I cast like Fireball, and I get the score, the minimum score to hit the immediate cast. It's cast right then and there. If I don't, and it's down to the D, which is the delayed, it's going to be delayed till the next round. And on the M, it's a miscast. So the miscast here, like a level 1 to 2 spell, on a roll at 2d6, if you roll an 8 or more, it takes effect straight away. If you roll between a 3 and a 7, it's going to be delayed until the next round. If you roll a 1 or 2, it's a miscast, and you're going to have to use the miscast table. And here's the miscast table. I'm just going to read 1 or 2 of them here quite quickly. So, if you roll a 1 on the D100 table, the caster is obliterated. Nothing remains but ash and static. Okay. On a 2 or 4, the spell backfires with cataclysm force. All creatures in 30 feet take spell level damage times 1d6. So if you're a level 3 character, you're going to take 3 by 6 dice. So 3d6 damage. Let's go down to say 31 to 33. The caster lets out a scream, not of their own. They are silenced for 1d6 hours, which, you know, that's not a bad one really. A 92 causes a lightning storm that strikes randomly for 10d6 damage. There are 1d10 bolts. Wow, that's a crazy one. If you got that, a lot of people are probably guaranteed to die. And it has just a bunch of level spells. So if you're 1 through 12, actually, that was 9. 1 through 12 for the magic user. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward, really. The cleric is going to be something similar. All the spells are going to be done at the same rate as well. You have 7 levels for this cleric. But yeah, it's just all the different spells in here. That's basically what the book is. It's very simple, very straight to the point. Psionics in the background. I haven't really touched psionics myself, so I won't go over that. There's a lot in this. Like, there's over 200 something pages in these books, so there is quite a lot. And then your Monsters and Treasure book. Again, in a few minutes we will go over the print and demand copy, but I'm just going over quickly each of these books. And basically, this is going to be your treasure book, your monsters book. It's called Horrors and Treasures, and on the front it has this excellent drawing of this long, creepy, lurking monster. So it has everything done alphabetically as well. So you have your A down to Z. The Z ends at zombies. The A starts with aliens / UFOs, apes, white elves, giant ants, assassins. So if you need to know what you're looking for based on what you've rolled for encounters and stuff like that, you just go down here. Okay, it's whatever. I go to oh, the black dragon appears. Okay, it's going to have a hit dice of between 6 and 8. They're going to be chaotic. 50% chance of it sleeping. 40% chance that it will speak to you if it does wake up. And it has a 5% chance of magic. What do you think it's going to be, like a magic item and stuff like that? Description: dwelled in the sunless bogs, craters, and poisonous marshes. They exhale acid in a 60 feet line, 5 feet wide. Their scales are rotted iron, and their hearts are even fouler. So there's a bunch of cool stuff in here. Like we have the Eye of Fear. I wonder what that is. But there's tons of creatures and monsters in here. You have new ones like the green skulls, feral green skulls. Tons of different golem types, giants, invisible creatures here, kobolds, ladies of the lake. Think of Arthurian stuff. Lady of the lake. Different kind of lycanthropes, so werebears, wereboars, wererats, weretigers, and werewolves. It's all characterized really well. You have merchants, medusas, mimics, minotaurs, everything really. And then you get into the treasure. There's an absolute ton of monsters in here, so you will not be looking far for any monsters you won't have. And also, since it's based on OD&D, you can get other stuff from up to basically all TSR games, monster books compatible, and it'll work great with this, no problem. Just talk about different treasure types. You know, you have different bits of gold, silver, jewelry, magic items, and or maps you can get. You have treasure type of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then you have, if you get, say, a magical item, you're going to roll your D100. Say you land on a potion, you then go to the appropriate page which will have the potions, and then you're going to roll what it says there. It's really straightforward, and there's tons of stuff in here. Like you have your swords, your armors, your special swords, a dragon slayer weapon, which is then going to give you +3 damage, +3 to hit and damage versus dragons, which is cool. Yeah, so this is, again, it's very simple, straightforward, easy to understand. Different kinds of armors you can get, special armors, hazmat suits, Dinoco star armor, advanced metals. Yeah, again, this is, remember what we said, it's not just fantasy, it's science fantasy. There's magic, there's aliens, there's robots, there's monsters. Again, there's robots in here which you can fight, and they're tough. They're tough sons of beepies. Extraordinary ability tables. Epithalation of magic items, swords and guns. Intelligent egos, the kind of powers they're going to have. There's like intelligent weapons sort of stuff. Origins and purpose. So you can create lots of stuff on the go. And there's going to be a bunch of pre-made stuff. What it is. The Dinoco star armor. Very Fallout inspired by the picture. Scrolls, wands and staffs, rings. It's all in here. So if you don't want to create something, you just want to have something real quick, bam, there you go. Someone got the Helm of Reading and Magical Languages. Allows the wearer to read any magical script or language. Offers no combat protection. If struck, there's a 10% chance it breaks. So not everything is like, it's powerful, but that can break. There's like a good chance it can break. 10%. You can roll a D100 or roll a D10. Yeah, there you go. Boom. Artifacts. Ancient artifacts are powerful relics of immense power in the cosmic universe. And it just gives you an example of one or two of them here. But yeah, absolutely love it. And again, there will be more in the radioactive boogaloo for new items and stuff like that. And this book, volume 4 of the booklets, it is essentially a DM book, or referee, a judge book, whatever you want to call it. And it's going to go over some basic procedures and how things are. Some extra combat stuff like aerial combat. Specialists if you're creating if you want to set up your own sort of land, and it gives you some basic tips on the world, what you should do when you're searching, listening for traps, light and vision. It gives you an example of a wandering encounter table for in dungeons and stuff like that, and it is encouraged to create your own, because again, if you're playing in a different setting, your own setting, you want to create a, you know, roughly based on what's in your area. examples of referee moderating dungeon. It just gives you like a play-by-play of how it kind of went, as in this example, which is handy for brand new people. Experience for monsters, coin, experience for division, and talks about other notes and stuff like that in here. The Borderlands, what is the Borderlands? Referees map. Also, when you get this, if you get a physical, you will get a PDF. You get a referee map as well. So, and it's going to be a little world map actually. Talks about castles, what kind of occupant is going to be of the castle if you come across it, fighting men, magic users, clerics, and like the percentage of how many of them are there, how much things are going to cost. If you're moving to the Borderlands, here's your movement speed. If you're a man on foot, you're going to go 3 hexes a day. If you're going to be on a light riding horse, which is down there, it's going to be pretty fast. It's going to be 10 hexes a day, up to, of course. You then have to do like your wandering monster checks to see if you're lost, all that stuff. Guards and retainers, that's going to be for your castle, but you can also get retainers for yourself. And here's your counter table chart, which is it's very simple, it's very straightforward. Here's the type of ground you're on. Here's your check the low lost. In a clear ground, it's going to be 1. In woods, it's going to be 1 to 2. River 1, swamp 1 to 3, mountains 1 to 2, desert 1 to 3, or deadlands, it's going to be 1 to 3. Then your counter table, clear on a 6, on a woodlands 5 to 6, river 5 to 6, swamplands 4 to 6, mountains 4 to 6, desert 5 to 6, and deadlands 4 to 6. Now this brings me to Electric Boogaloo, because Electric Boogaloo, it does have a different kind of encounter table, which I like to use more. Basically, you're going to roll a d12, and let me just bring it up here. You won't be able to see it, but it's just for me to read. So yeah, in the solo wilderness procedures, again, you don't have to use this for solo. You can use it for your normal everyday games, which I like it better. It's just me. So you're going to roll for your encounter. If you have an encounter, you're then going to roll a d12. On the d12, a 1 to 5 is going to be a wandering monster. And a 6 to 8 is going to be a keyed hex location, which you will find in here. There's going to be some key hexes. I think it's in here, is there? No, it's actually going to be in Electric Boogaloo. At the end of that, there will be some key hexed locations. If that is not there, if you're not in a key hex location, you will then roll a wandering monster as well. So if there's no key hex location, a 1 to 8 is going to be wandering monster. You can then, on a d12, if you roll a 9 to 10, you're going to have pilgrims, and it talks about the pilgrims here, what they are. You're going to roll d12 twice, what they're doing, and the reaction they're going to have. So maybe you roll for a lord and his retinue, and they're traveling to visit somewhere, and they are enthusiastically friendly towards you. You know, just reactions and stuff for everything there. Or you can do a random location, and I like the random locations because here you go. Here's your random locations. You're going to roll a d12 and a d6. You roll your d12. Let's just do that now, actually. Roll a d12. We got a 5. What's the 5? Okay, then we roll a d6. We roll a 5 on the d6. So we come across an abduction site or crop circles. Obviously, if you're like in a desert or something like that, you can interpret things to make sense in that world, in that outcome. But like, I like this better. I think it adds a bit more randomness. That's just me. Again, do what you want. I'll just bring this back up to normal for myself so I can see what I'm doing. But yeah, this is great. And like, you counter men, you can come up with level 9 fighting man or cleric and stuff like that. Thieves, psychics, magic users. Or you can just come across a bunch of bandits, but they still might be hostile towards you. They could be bad guys. Maybe they're good guys and they think you've done something bad, you know? Which is pretty cool. Evading evasion rules as well. Very simple, very straightforward. And that is almost it. You then have specialists. So if you are in a location, if you're setting up your own castle or anything like that, you've cleared out the air surrounding hexes around you. You've made your own spot, and you're like, okay, I need to hire an alchemist and an armorer. I need to hire a sage and like a teamster to help me do stuff for my location. And then you have your laborers as well. So, or if you're in a castle, you can then use this as an example to try and get some help. Say if you need a guide somewhere, so it's 15 silver a day. But if you have a craftsman, it's 80 silver a month. But maybe you need him to do a week's worth of work for you. You're not going to give him equivalent of a week's worth of pay based upon that month. And then again, men at arms. This is going to be different types of troop costs for your castle or whatever it is, your stronghold. Intro to strongholds domains. It's going to be goes into a bit more detail based on numbers, and yeah, it's there's not a lot to it, but it goes into enough detail where you will be, okay, I need to get this many laborers to build this building and build this wall. Here's going to be a cost for it. Okay, I need an engineer. The engineer is going to cost a ton of money as well. He's going to be overseeing everything, and then there's a cost and all that stuff. So yeah. Aerial combat, I haven't even looked at this yet myself. I'm not at that point in the game where I would be doing aerial combat, really. You know, a griffin fighting some flying eagles or something like that. No. We'll just have a quick flip through the print and the bang copy, you know. So like this one turned out, I think I'm in Ireland, so my drive-through comes from the UK, and I have had zero issues with it, really. I had one book ever out of dozens where there's a little scuffiness on the pages up here, but that was once. That was not a big deal. Yeah, and just goes over everything. As you can see, again, all the same stuff we looked at before. And again, like I was saying there, my drive-through, I'm in Ireland, so it comes from the UK. And this, I've noticed, I think their quality is getting better and better where I am. I've never had any problems with the quality from drive-through, but I feel like they are getting better. Like here's all the monsters we were looking at there a few minutes ago. Psychic duel, psionics, magic user stuff here, spells, critical miscast tables. It's all in here, all in this one volume. It's very handy, very cool. For me, this is going to be the books I'll be given when I'm doing group play in person. I'll be like, okay, here you go, here's your book. I will be getting the other copies of this, the other covers, whenever they come out. So that's going to be cool, because then I could, what I plan on doing is using the booklets for my own personal solo games, and I use the books for group play with people. Oh my, big sneeze. But yeah, so booklets are for me, for my personal games, and the book is for everyone else. I can give it to them at the table and be like, okay, all your stuff is going to be in your book. Open up the book. Okay, here's the index. So what you need class and level stuff. There it is. Go to that page. You need to know equipment. There's your equipment. You need to know more about your psionics and sorcerers. Go to that page 61. That's going to have all your magic user stuff. And then within that, it's going to go into, oh, you need your miscast table. Okay, that's going to be page 70. So you can look all that up yourself. And there you go. So you don't have to keep asking DM or judge, GM, DM, judge, all that stuff. But yeah, to me, this is quickly becoming one of my favorite games, if not my favorite game. If anyone knows, anyone who's watching the channel, you know I love Shadowdark. I think it's great. There's a couple of games I absolutely really love. Tales of Ragosa, Horde Wars is brilliant as well. Shadowdark, yeah, but this has taken up a lot of my time lately, and I'm in love. This is an absolutely highly recommend book game. Again, it's not just OD&D. You can, if you want, you can play this straight OD&D. Get rid of all the radiation and weird stuff if you want, or you can just go crazy. use the random tables, all that stuff, and enjoy the game as it's meant to be played. Yeah, I highly recommend. Like I said before, I will link everything in the description and the pinned comment. I will link where you can buy this. If you want the box set, you get it from Barrows Borderlands website. If you want to just get the PDF, I'd recommend getting it from there as well. If you want the print and demand copy, you can get it from DriveThru. I'll link my affiliate link with it as well. But yeah, that's it, guys. It's an absolute crazy, yes, recommend. Go get it. It's awesome. You'll have fun. And remember, if there is the Discord is available for everyone to join still, I will link that as well, and get on there. It's a hell of a lot of fun. Everyone's super friendly, helpful. Everyone's, you won't find a better community in my opinion, in terms of gaming communities of people who are putting stuff out. But yeah, that's it, guys. If you like this one, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you think. I'll talk to you again soon. Thank you, and goodbye.